Hey there guys, alright, today we are back with some more geography now, this time the Republic of North Macedonia, or Macedonia, I don't know, I heard Macedonia is the proper pronunciation by some people, and then Macedonia is another. I don't know, I'm gonna go with Macedonia because I think that's what a Greek told me. Or, well, also someone from that area because I think they speak Greek. Anyways, this is gonna be controversial, I guess. So, let's see how it goes. Don't know why he's choosing to do this country at this point, because it's, you know, Republic, so it's an R, so it's way down the line. Or if we go off the N, still also way down the line of countries to do. And we're in the Fs. I don't know why. But maybe Barbie will explain. Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love it if you joined the Discord and followed me over at Twitch. Okay, got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
Alright guys, this is going to be the most controversial video I've made since Armenia and Azerbaijan. As you know, we follow the alphabetical English list of countries in the UN. That being said, as the UN, EU, European Council, and NATO all give the same title for this country, this episode is going to go under F for Former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. However, I will refer to this country as the Republic of Macedonia, as over 130 countries call it that on their own terms, and because it's shorter and easier to say. Okay? Are we good? Cool?
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. For those of you who know nothing about this country or why I'm trying to take so many precautions, basically all you have to know is that in almost every aspect, this place is actually pretty plain, simple, and chill. It's just the name that starts all the drama. You might be wondering why. Well, we will explain in a bit, but first, let's talk about where it is. So, the Republic of Macedonia. Tolerate it if I just use that title for this video for abbreviated purposes. No problem. Please, just continue your lesson. Thank you. So, the Republic of Macedonia is kind of like a country that got mixed up, tossed around, flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a moment just sitting right here to tell you how this country became a place with such an affair. Oh! High five! First of all, the country is landlocked and
He said high five, so I give him a high five.
Located in the Balkan Peninsula of Southeast Europe, surrounded by Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, and depending on which side of this sovereignty debate you stand on, Kosovo and Serbia. Guys, it's the Balkans, Europe's most dysfunctional family. The country is divided into 9 regions, with the capital Skopje located in the north-central part of the country, where a quarter of the entire population lives. It's also the historical birthplace of Mother Teresa, and in the city square, it has a statue of Alexander the Great. Look, they immortalized Alexander the Great in their land. Oh, and they named their airport after him, too. The country has only 2 main civilian airports, Skopje Alexander the Great International and Ohrid St. Paul the Apostle International by Lake Ohrid. Ohrid is
Those are some, I'm not gonna lie, those are some pretty shitty names. Just naming it after, you know, former people that lived, pretty cringe, bro.
a popular tourist and vacation spot. However, the second and third largest cities are Bitola, Kumanovo in the northeast of Skopje. The E75 highway is the longest and busiest road that traverses the entire country, north to south. Fun little side note, in the Republic of Macedonia, the sidewalks are actually used for both walking and parking.
Oh,
To this day,
God.
the legacy of the
I would fucking hate it there.
Ottoman times is well preserved in places like the Gazi Hajar Kadi Mosque in Bitola. Tetovo is kind of like the Albanian capital of the country, as it has the highest Albanian population in the country, adorned with geometric and floral motifs all over. In the west, we reach the strange town slash micronation of Vevchani, which declared itself its own republic and even has its own currency called the Linchnik. Now, if there's any structure that just straight up dominates the landscape, though, it would have to be monasteries, churches, fortresses, and mosques. I did 4 like this. That's weird. This is how I made a 4. One's like St. John the Baptist Monastery, which supposedly has the forearm of St. John the Baptist, embellished with extremely intricate wood carvings in the interior. The Kale Fortress in Skopje and the Tsar Samuel Fortress in Ohrid stick out too. So those are some of the most notable sites, but you're probably still wondering, okay, that's nice, but what does any of this have to do with the country's controversial name? We'll explain that in a little bit in the demographics section, but first, let's slowly keep you distracted from the inevitable rage fest by telling you more about the pretty mountains and rivers and stuff. Alright, let's have one more round of plain objective fact reporting before the gray zone of doom comes up in the next section. In the simplest way I can put this, the country is about 80% mountainous and basically split in half by the longest river, the Vardar, that flows north to south and emptying in the Aegean Sea. On the west of the river, you have the Dinaric Alps with the tallest peak, Mount Korab, along the border of Albania. The general South Balkan region that the country lies on sits on the subduction zone between the European and African plates, cut right in the Mediterranean. Therefore, the Republic of
Yeah, tectonic plates and earth and science.
Macedonia is subject to some earthquake activity every so often. The Republic of Macedonia is famous for two things: tobacco and opium. The
Oh, drugs.
opium here is the national treasure, which has disputably the highest quality in the world with about 14 morphine units per specimen. Yeah, sorry Afghanistan. Hang in there though, you're doing good. The crop is mostly used for pharmaceuticals and transported all over Europe. There's also the Pesha Cave in Makedonski Brod, which is famous for looking like Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings. Close by Skopje, you can't miss the Matka Valley with the canyons. Of course, the prize trophy of the country would have to be Lake Ohrid, one of the oldest and deepest lakes in Europe with over 200 different endemic species, including the Ohrid trout, which is one of the national animals. Some national dishes include meat pie and ivar relish made of crushed bell peppers and garlic, sometimes referred to as vegetable caviar, even though sometimes Serbians will say that they created it. And that's about it. Stay tuned. France is coming up next. Oh yeah, how did this country get their whole name controversy dispute thing right? Oh boy, well, here comes the train wreck. I'll do my best. Transition. Oh boy, this is gonna be just dandy. No matter what I say in any angle in this section, someone is gonna disagree and throw sharp objects at me. But this is my job. This is the life I chose. Come on, Barbie, you can do this. Just, hey, we haven't done a Bob Saget joke in a while. Duh, I'm Bob Saget. I wear dad pants and I once sat on a pizza. Okay, first of all, the country has about 2 million people and was the only former Yugoslav republic to gain independence without any bloodshed. About 65% of the nation identifies as ethnically Macedonian, and a quarter are Albanians, and the rest are made up of groups like Turks, Romani, Serbs, and Bosniaks. The currency is also...
That's interesting that there's no large Greek identifying subculture in there.
The Macedonian dinar, they use the CEF type outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Now,
hear that, Britain? The right side of the road. Because it's correct. Because it's right.
now let's begin the discussion. First of all, what exactly are some distinguishing traits of people that identify as Macedonian? Well, for starters, just like we explained in the Bulgaria episode, they have Slavic roots and speak a Slavic-based language that is very similar to Bulgarian. Most people in both countries can understand each other just fine, and many have relatives and family that live in each other's countries. The people of this country have been tossed around over and over again in the past millennia, and it wasn't until the Balkan Wars that things really got cracking. For those of you who don't know, the Balkan Wars basically just went like this. Oh no, we don't like the Ottomans. Let's fight them. Yeah. What the? We had an agreement. You screwed it all up. You're all dead. And that's about it. Essentially, the area that takes up the parameters of modern-day Republic of Macedonia were sort of the product of Yugoslavia after World War II. First, they were called Vardar Banovina, and then it became the Socialist Republic of Macedonia. To this day, Macedonians claim that they are descendants of Alexander the Great and the ancient Macedonians that were mixed in with the Slavic tribes that migrated into the area in the 6th century AD. Then in 1991, Yugoslavia broke up, and that was when the whole modern mess with Greece really heated up. I mean, it was already kind of heated before that, but this just made things a lot worse. To this day, Greece deliberately opposes the usage of the title Macedonia, as they claim the name is historically inseparable from Greek heritage, and they are the only ones that have the right to use the name, let alone the symbol.
Ah, okay, I understand.
And shortly after they said that, the Republic of Macedonia started to use the symbols. Yeah, that didn't really help
Petty. I love it.
the conflict. One thing that both Greeks and Macedonians can agree on is that historically, there was a region called Macedonia that expanded under Alexander the Great all the way from the Balkans to India. Where they disagree on is who the Macedonians and Alexander the Great really were, which, I'm gonna try my best, kind of went like this. You guys are constructing a narrative and appropriating our heritage and symbols, and it all started with Tito. Macedonia is an inherently Greek title, and you guys are not Greek, let alone Hellenistic in any way. We never claimed to be Greek, and neither was Alexander the Great. He was ethnically Macedonian, which was a separate, distinct group apart from the Greeks, which mixed in with our Slavic forefathers after they arrived centuries later. Dude, the Macedonians were Greeks. They spoke Greek, they had the same culture, they worshipped the same gods, they spread the Greek language across the empire. Alexander the Great was taught by Aristotle. They were Greek. Yeah, he spoke Greek. He also spoke Persian and a ton of other languages. And if they were Greek, why would they go to war with a ton of other Greek cities so often? He spoke the original
Because the Greeks also, okay. Well, there's a lot that can be taken apart here on both sides of the argument, obviously, because that is how these things go. And obviously, if one side could be taken apart more than the other, then this issue probably would not be happening as much. Or, well, it wouldn't be as vocal of an issue, I guess. The Macedonian side makes a great point on how Alexander, spoke Persian and Greek. But then also on the Greek side of things, they're running what the Macedonians are saying here, like, yeah, he fought the Greeks a bunch, or whatever. The Greeks fought the Greeks a bunch. There's this thing called the Peloponnesian Wars. It happened, like, I think a little bit before Alexander's father came in, Philip II. I think that's the timeline, roughly. So, both sides got some points, both sides got some wrongs.
Macedonian language first, and then promulgated the Greek culture as it was seen as advantageous. That's just a lie your leaders have told you to set a footing for future claims against Greek territory. Macedonia has been in the name of our north region for over 3,000 years, with real Greek Macedonians today living in that area. Yeah, that totally explains the actions of Ioannis Metaxas in 1913. I knew you would bring that up. Look, I know that was tragic and horrible, but it's completely irrelevant to the actual documented, archaeologically corroborated historical facts that you can't deny. Then clearly you need a history lesson. No, you do! You do! You do! So, guys, the Pirin region... Disclaimer, this is pretty much just what the governments and radical nationalists say. Most of the general Greek and Macedonian populations don't even really care too much about this issue. To this day...
I really like how he always mentions that like, whenever something like this props up in these episodes, he's always like, these are the governments and the extremists that say this stuff. On the whole, the general population don't really give a shit, because the general population don't give a shit.
The UN, EU, European Council have all somewhat sided with Greece, agreeing to appoint the title Former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. Many Greek and Macedonian politicians have said that they would maybe be willing to settle on a new compound country name that deliberately distinguishes the country apart from the word Macedonia. Some suggestions include Slavo-Macedonia, Upper Macedonia, or Northern Macedonia, but for now, the one that kind of unofficially stands at a somewhat not perfect but not too rage-inciting national title is the Republic of Macedonia. So anyway, Macedonians love wrestling and handball. Wrestler Saban Trstena being considered a national icon as he won a gold medal in 1984. The men's handball league made 4 appearances in the world championships. Some notable Macedonians throughout history include poets Blaise Kaneski, Kol Nedeljkovski, painter Peter Manzev, pianist Simon Turpchevsky, Academy Award nominated director Milcho Manchevsky, and of course, even though she was ethnically Albanian, Mother Teresa was born in Skopje. Alright, I think it's time to move on. Let's jump into diplomacy. Well, as you can probably guess, the Republic of Macedonia is kind of surrounded by neighbors that all have some kind of issue with them. The general stereotype is that Serbia doesn't recognize their church, Bulgarians don't recognize their sovereignty, Albanians don't recognize their western border, and Greece... yeah, you can kind of already guess. However, it's the 21st century, and the millennial generation really doesn't care too much about their grandparents' drama. Borders are totally open, people travel back and forth between these countries, and trade is consistent as long as you got a good bottle of Balkan wine to share. Serbians are generally close, as their split from the Republic was the only one without bloodshed. Even though some political points are disputed, they're still cool. And Bulgaria is like the country where the Republic of Macedonia kind of sneaks into the EU through a loophole in the passport system, in which you can totally qualify if you have family in Bulgaria, which many Macedonians do. Turkey still gets along nicely with them, however, it's been favoring Albania and Kosovo a little bit more these days. They're best friends, however, and out of all the Macedonian geographies I asked, more or less, most of them agreed that Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina are probably their closest allies. These two countries all shared a deep history of being former Yugoslav Republic states that go way back. Have you ever had friends that you made while you were all being punished for something at the same time? Yeah, that's kind of how it is with these guys. They've seen so much struggle and hardship together and still managed to smile back at each other the entire time.
It's like Breakfast Club.
Yeah, it's like Breakfast Club. In conclusion, just saying the word Macedonia incites a lot of opinions and frustrations with certain groups of people. And I'm not gonna pretend like I have an answer to all this. The Balkans will always be indescribably complicated. It's just interesting how a simple name can cause so much uproar. Names matter. Let that be a lesson for you today. Restez à l'écoute, France sera le prochain.
That French sounded pretty good. Anyways, that was Geography Now, the Republic of North Macedonia. Yeah, this was a pretty good episode. Not as good as the Finland episode, I don't think. But it was, I'll say it's an average episode for Geography Now. It's kind of what like come to expect. It's not good. It's not like all their videos are good, but it's not like that. This is what I would consider their average. So it's not bad for them. It's not great for them. This is their average. And I think part of that is due to, having to hold back on discussions on controversy because just of the way they have developed their channel, right? And can't blame them. Can't blame them for that at all. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.